not saying what my brain's telling it to say.
What's going on, YouTube? My name's Mason, and the last couple of days I've had two identical 3.5 liter EcoBoosts come in with the exact same problem. They were both leaking coolant from probably the most common place on this 3.5 EcoBoost. And no, it's not the water pump. It's actually the turbocharger coolant fittings. So I thought to myself, I said, you know what, this would be a good opportunity for me to make a video, because I'm sure there are a lot of you guys out there that are having this problem with this engine. It's leaking coolant from the fittings on the turbo where the coolant supply and return come in to cool the turbochargers. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to share why I removed the cab to do this repair, and also just some of the tips and tricks that I've learned from doing this over the years, what works, what you really should replace while you're doing it at the same time. So if you're not already subscribed to this channel, then I really don't know what's going on, because I'm giving y'all all kind of free information that you would usually pay hundreds of dollars for at your local repair shop. So if you would, just go on and hit that subscribe button so you can get all this free information. First things first, I just want to talk about why I removed the cab to do this. I know a lot of people probably don't. A lot of people that even work at Ford dealerships don't, but a lot of them do. And the main reason, the short version of the reason that I pull the cab on this is because I've done hundreds of them. Maybe not for this exact same problem, but after you do something repetitively like that for so many times, you just get to where it's just second nature to you. So pulling the cab off of one of these trucks takes about 45 minutes to get off and about 45 minutes to get back on. With only taking you an hour and a half to have it off and back on, it really just saves your knees and your back and your elbows from aching over the years. So I just like getting that cab out of my way. I feel like it makes my body not hurt as bad, but I also feel like it lets me do a better job at repairing it, because I'm able to access stuff so much better. I can make sure that things are put back together correctly. The second reason I removed the cab, and I'll overlay something here to show you the fitting that I'm talking about, but there's actually a fitting that I know a lot of people don't replace because it's probably not leaking at that time whenever they did it, but I've seen them leak, so I always replace this fitting. I always replace all the coolant fittings and all the oil fittings at the same time, because hey, why not? You already pretty much got them off. The fitting that I'm talking about is located on the back of the head, and I believe it is the return pipe. I'm not sure. I have to look at the diagram to be sure. I don't really know which one's the supply or return, but it's located on the back of the head. And the problem with it is you actually have to remove the intake. And once you get the intake off, you have to remove the coolant crossover pipe that's up under your intake in the very back of the engine. And then after you do all that, you actually have to go in there with a mirror and a pick and try to pick the little C-clip that's in there that holds the coolant pipe in out with a pick. And it is really tedious and really difficult. I've done 2 or 3 of them, and I don't do them like that anymore, and that's the reason, just because it's so difficult. Sometimes I've spent 45 minutes to an hour just sitting there messing with trying to get that one clip out, and in 45 minutes I can have the cab off and I can go right to it. So that's pretty much the reasons that I remove the cab. I pretty much remove the cab to put an air filter on. That's just me. I love pulling the cab off just because, hey, why not? The third reason I really like pulling the cab is because I really like for customers to walk into the service aisle and see their vehicle all tore apart like that. I just like to see how jitty they get when they see their $70,000 vehicle that's torn into, it looks like it's torn into a million pieces. It's really not. It's really not removing that much, but they just see it and their eyeballs get this big around, and they want to trade it in and get a new one. So I'm probably helping our sales staff out that way. So if you had this problem on your vehicle, what all should you replace? What all would I replace if it was mine? I already said I would replace all. I already do on every one I touch. I replace all the coolant fittings, all the oil fittings, and something that a lot of people probably doesn't do that I do, I replace the pipes as well. I replace the coolant pipes. There's 2 coolant pipes, and there's 1 oil pipe. It's actually 2, but it's all made into one assembly. And the reason I replace them is because a lot of time you have to bend them to get them off, and I don't like the whole idea of just reusing them. They're cheap and expensive, so why not just go and replace them while you got it off? Some other things that I replace are definitely the turbo bolts. They're bad about breaking off in the manifolds. Turbo gasket, of course. Something else that I want to tell y'all about that I know a lot of people don't do as well. I always do it. I said oil fitting earlier, but really what I mean to replace is the oil filter for the turbo. So that oil fitting actually has a screen on the back of it, and that screen is what they call a filter. But essentially what will happen is over time, if you don't change your oil enough, it will plug that screen up. And if that screen gets plugged up, it will starve your turbo for oil, and you won't, you know, your oil, if your turbo's not getting oil, it's gonna eventually seize up. That's what's gonna happen. So that's a big one. I always like to pull those out and at least look at them, even if I don't replace them. Just look at the screen, blow it out maybe if it's got any debris in it. That's a really good idea. A lot of people ask me, why do these leak? You know, what caused the fitting to start leak? I wish I could chalk it up to something else, but it's 112% Ford's fault. It's a crappy design to have a quick connect fitting on something like that. They could have, I feel like, done it with a, you know, like a lot of other stuff does, where it just has an O-ring and a bolt, and it, you know, it slides in with an O-ring and a bolt. We've been using O-rings for like 500 years now, and they're pretty dependable. Whereas these quick connect fittings that has an O-ring on the inside, they don't hold up for some reason. I don't really know why, but I'm going to chalk it up to Ford. They're just design flaw with them, because it's not just a problem on the F150s. It's a problem on the whole line. It's not just the F150s. It's the F250s, the cars, everything they use quick connect fittings on. We just had issues out of them since they started doing that. So you might ask, how do you know if this is your leak? If you're wondering if you're losing, really messed that one up. So you're wondering how you can tell if this is your leak. Like if I don't know what's wrong with me. I mean, my mouth is working, but it's not saying what my brain's telling it to say.
I don't know what's wrong with me. I mean, my mouth is working, but it's not saying what my brain's telling it to say.
You got a coolant leak, and you're wondering if it's your turbo's leaking, if it's your turbo coolant fitting's leaking. How do you tell? The place I would look is on the oil return off the bottom of the turbo. And what that is I'll lay some video over here, but it's a kinky looking, like what is a flexible pipe that comes up directly off the bottom of your turbocharger and runs back into the block. It runs back in the block. It's an oil drain back off your turbo. What happens is when the two fittings that are on the turbo leak, they're above that. So they actually leak down and leak onto that pipe, and it comes down and leaks all the way down to the lowest point where it drips off. So if you got coolant there, I'd say 99.9% of the time, you know, like Lysol kills 99.9% of germs, 99.9% of the time it's leaking from your turbo fittings. I don't really know where else it could leak. I guess you could have a cracked block or something, but that's how you would tell. That'd be the main way. Putting them under pressure really isn't gonna make a big deal. I don't see them leak very much worse after you put a pressure tester on them, so I wouldn't really recommend that. Just look up under and see if they're wet. If they're wet, then they're leaking. And it's a really slow leak. It's not something that just like you're gonna run out of coolant in a day. Like if you filled it up with coolant, you could probably drive for, I'd say probably 2 or 3 weeks before you have to add more coolant to it, before it's gonna be completely out. So we didn't really have a whole lot here on this video today. I didn't really show you how to do anything on them, just because it's such an in-depth process of repairing them. Now, I've looked on YouTube, there's some other videos out where some guys are replacing them without removing the cab. I'm not gonna show you that way because I'm gonna pull the cab on every one I do, but I just wanted to share some of the knowledge and tips and things that I've learned over the years about these leaks on the turbos, and you know, maybe it'll help you out, maybe save you some money in the long run. So if you enjoyed the video, give me that thumbs up, really helps. Give me that thumbs up. And if you aren't already, like I told you in the beginning, if you're not listening to me, I really just cannot help you. If you're not subscribed, you're missing out on free information here. Most people charge you hundreds of dollars an hour for the information that I'm going to give you in these videos. So make sure you're subscribed, and peace out. I'll see you in the next one.